Here's another English invention for you folks. This is quite cool in my most humble opinion. Looks like a car steering wheel, doesn't it? But ultimately what it is it's a microphone that goes in front of your speaker. So when you're playing on stage, the sound desk engineer or the sound engineer doesn't have to come around and mic up your speaker. I've got a lovely old Fender amplifier, so the plan is to go ahead and mount this into the Fender amplifier. Haha, look at that beautiful amplifier. It's almost as big as the kitchen table. And it comes complete with manual. And then just turning it around here, you can see some of the valves. These are the power valves here, and then there's a few preamp valves here. We're going to get the speaker out in a minute, and the other thing we probably should do is just sort of give those valves a bit of a dust off and reseat them in their sockets. We might need a little bit of pot cleaner and switch cleaner just to sort of tidy up some of the controls on the top here. So if you look at the controls, we've got on and off. There's a lovely little neon. Look at that, it's so cute. Little neon light there. Various different accessory jack sockets here. Some lovely controls. Look at those there. Oh, they're still beautifully smooth. They still feel beautifully smooth. Happy days, yeah. A little bit of wobble there. We might need some screws tightening up. We got another little switch here, and then here's the important one. This is the volume control. And the funny thing is, most volume controls go up to 10. Well, this one goes not up to 11, it goes up to 12. How cool is that? And then we've got a couple of inputs here on the back end as well. So let's very carefully position the amplifier face down on the table. Oh, this is one heavy beast. And then we can take that back cover off there. I just realized that I made a mistake removing these screws. These screws hold the back panel here to the chassis, and it looks as though the whole back panel will pop out. So it's these screws on the side that hold the entire chassis in place. Yeah, and you can see that when we start to remove this screw, the whole chassis here, the whole panel starts to drop. There we go. Inside here there are a couple of spade type connectors, and what we need to do is just carefully remove those connectors. I think I'm going to use two hands for this job, but basically pop those connectors off, and then we can get everything out, including the speaker itself. Another good idea is just to use a permanent marker to put a mark on the terminals to make sure that you reconnect the speaker in the correct phase. So this is quite amusing. Having done all of the spade removal from the terminals of the actual speaker, I find that it plugs into the valve amp with a 1/4-inch jack, so didn't need to do all of that business. Anyway, let's remove the screws and remove the speaker from its location. So the interesting thing is with these speakers is there's a sweet spot for the right tonal qualities of the sound. And what is really good about the Integral here is it has this microphone on the back of it, but the microphone is offset. And actually, if you look, you can see there's a sort of a teardrop shape to that microphone there. And ultimately what that does is when it's sitting on the speaker, is that offset shape focuses the microphone into the appropriate sweet spot of the speaker to get the best quality sound out. And the other good thing is always going to be in the same place. So you're not going to get some sound desk engineer putting a microphone up here or down there, or perhaps someone accidentally pulling on a cable and moving the microphone. But yeah, ultimately it's always going to stay in exactly the right place. Position the Integral microphone so that the holes line up with the gasket holes here. Position the speaker on top of those holes. And then what we do is just screw it all back in place again. Make sure when you do this up that the microphone cable is inside the little cutout here. So while we're here, what we're going to do is we're just going to pop all of these valves out just briefly. You can see me carefully wiggling that one out of its socket there. And then what we'll do, once the valve is out, we'll just check all of those connections are nice and clean, and they are. They all look nice and silvery, and we'll get that valve fitted back in place. We're going to reseat all of the valves on this valve amp here, just to make sure that those connections are nice and strong. There's no oxidization that's built up on those connections. Reassemble the amplifier. We're going to need to fit this XLR connector chassis somewhere sensible, so the sound engineer can find it and just plug in. And when you're fitting this, make sure you're not fitting it where there might be some electronics. So I've chosen a rather empty piece of the frame to fit it to here. And the other thing that you might want to do is fit this somewhere on the amplifier so that it shows the sound technician that this is fitted with an integral microphone. Next thing to do, using a flat-bladed screwdriver, I'm going to remove all of these little pot twiddlers or control knobs. And then what we're going to do is give this cover a little bit of a clean up. And with all valve amps, you need to switch them on and let them warm up for a few seconds so that the grid heaters in the valves do their business. So now we know it all works. Let's plug it into some kind of sound desk or sound recorder. We've got everything plugged in. I'm hoping you can see the screen. If I just hit some strings on the guitar, everything's working. Happy days. I've turned my amplifier up so loud that when I strum the strings my head hurts, but we're still getting no distortion. This is fantastic. Well done, Integral. And there we have it, folks, an Integral microphone mounted into a Fender HotRod, and yeah, it works a treat. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget, thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already. We'll catch you in the next video. Cheers and beers. Bye for now.